Welcome to another podcast. We have Mr. Chance Glasco all the way in from Orlando, Florida.
What's up, guys?
He missed his flight yesterday because...
Well, it's two reasons.
Let's hear it.
My alarm didn't... I don't know if maybe it went off and I unconsciously turned it off. Maybe it didn't go off. I don't know. So got there later than intended, but then it took us like 30 to 45 minutes to find parking, just driving in circles.
Does that just mean that it's the worst parking lot in the history of airports?
So MCO and LAX to me are like the worst airports on the planet.
LAX is number 2 for me, worst. Number 1, JFK.
Oh, okay. I've been there a couple times. It went pretty well for me.
Horrible.
But I can see that being pretty bad.
JFK, you need to get it together.
But everyone has, there's got to be a Burbank airport for every city, right? Like,
yeah,
where it's just
right.
like
amazing.
Long
Beach. I will only fly into Long Beach when I hit.
You won't even do Burbank? Burbank's
no, Long
always...
Beach. Burbank's good, but Long Beach is better, I would say. Yeah. What's your favorite of all the airports out there?
I actually like the Salt Lake City airport.
I was just going to say Salt Lake City?
Yeah. That little wavy white art thing on the side of the walls, that's super cool. It's super fresh.
That's new. That's new. It's like in the past, I don't know.
It might be the only place that serves alcohol after 10 p.m. here, you know?
Welcome to Utah, dude.
Yeah.
This is your second time out here, yeah? Had you been out
third,
here?
Right?
Third?
Because didn't I come with you and then I came for the investor little retreat thing and then this one?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the third time. Yeah. I've never been here.
So
I like it. It has that air. There's something about the air quality and the sky color.
Oh yeah, and the water. Like
water.
You can like drink out of the tap and it tastes good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll try it.
It's awesome. You and your wife need to move out here, dude.
All right. Well,
you really could.
Think about it.
You should. Is this your wife's first time? She came out with him.
Yeah. She's never been here.
What does she think?
Well, she's only been here at night. She's probably still sleeping right now. So she hasn't seen it during the day, and we got here in the evening. And she mentioned that it looked very industrial, but that's probably because that's all you can see when you get out of the airport.
Yeah, just wait. She's gonna wake up.
She has no idea that there's snow in the mountains when she gets out, and
she'll hear angels singing when she opens up the blinds. Because a lot of people look at those mountains and like they've never seen anything like it. I love bringing people out here that have never been to Utah because they are just blown away by the majestic mountains.
I feel like it's gonna become like a mega city. Probably already is. It seems like it's all blending together with like Provo and
it's blown up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not. There's Silicon Valley, and this is Silicon Slopes. That's like the new thing. There's more. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there are more companies, big companies, growing out of this area than anywhere else in the world, is what I heard. So I could be wrong.
It almost has like a Tulsa meets Denver vibe to it.
Tulsa meets Denver. Yeah. Could be. Yeah, I love Denver too. I've been to Tulsa a couple times. It's kind of boring out there.
Tulsa's gotten a lot better. I don't know if you've been there recently. There's a lot of good stuff downtown.
Yeah.
One of the most impressive parks in the whole nation, a gathering place. But it came from like being super boring. So.
Yes. So let's get into this. So Chance and I, we have a very unique and interesting way, which is actually the new age of meeting people, network, you know. We became homeboys on Twitter. What did you say? I missed
Tinder.
Tinder. No, we did not meet on Tinder.
Is Tinder around still? Yeah, no. Okay. Let's carry on.
Yeah. We're not going there. Anyway, but we met on Twitter. We both have a tremendous love for the Dodgers.
Yes, true.
I'm worried about this season. We probably shouldn't talk too much about that. But we'll be all right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. They got their butts kicked yesterday, but we're gonna be fine. Anyway, so so there's the Chance Glasco. Do you like to tell people your kind of alias for the second one?
I won't say the name, but I'll just say that I have a burner account.
Yeah, he has a burner account.
That is a capybara, the Dodgers rally capybara, right?
Yes.
And I use it mostly for Dodgers stuff. I don't use it like a true burner. Like some people use burners to be like jerks, you know?
Yeah.
And I use it I'll sometimes say stuff on there I wouldn't say on my main, but it's still something that I still more or less feel comfortable saying.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen you talk hate or anger or frustration.
If it is, it's totally a joke. It's just...
Yeah.
But so we started chatting on there and then just exchanging funny whatever stuff. And then I followed you, I think, on my real account, which was verified before I lost the check mark.
Yeah.
And started chatting on there too, but I didn't realize you didn't realize that it was the same person, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And then you told me. Yeah, so I think that was last was the beginning of last year when I was out there in Daytona.
Yeah.
And I landed in Daytona and I got a DM from you and you're
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, you're in my neck of the woods. We should go to dinner." And I'm like, "Let's do it, dude." He's like, "I want you to meet some people," and I had some people and we had a great old time, which actually we're going to get into
Yeah, went
later
to
in the
a
podcast.
red light.
Yeah, red light.
Shout out.
Yes. So, Chance is one of the funniest dudes I know, the most witty, quick on his feet people I know. He is hilarious, but he has an incredible past and a story that that's pretty special. He is like one of the Babe Ruths of development.
You don't know are you talking about just my career story or everything before that? Because the whole thing before that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Your childhood is nuts. We'll get into that too. But professionally and just, his personal life growing up, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a cool story. A lot that inspiring too.
Yeah.
It's pretty inspiring. In fact, so before we get into your personal life growing up, I want to talk about your career. So you had something to do with Call of Duty, from what I understand.
Yeah, so I got my first internship and then job working on Medal of Honor Allied Assault, which was a Spielberg franchise pre-Call of Duty. And we made Allied Assault. It did super well. People loved it, but we didn't like the person that we worked for. And so we left. 22 of us left, had to start a new company. First it was Jason, Vince, and Grant who kind of got that going. I received a phone call from a producer that we had that was fired, and everyone loved this guy. I was like, "What's up, Grant? What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm starting a video game company." I was like, "Cool, you're back in California, right?" He's like, "Nope, I'm here in Tulsa." I'm like, "Where are you going to find developers in Tulsa, Oklahoma?" And I was like, and he's like, come on over to my place tonight. We're going to be hanging out, some familiar faces. I'm like, "Okay, sure." And I think this was like Halloween or something. And I get there and there's a bunch of like maybe 10 guys from work. And they're like, "Have you talked to Chance yet?" I'm like, "No, they haven't talked to me about what." And so he brings me outside, talked to the animator that hired me, and they're like, "We're starting a new company. You want to join?" I was like, "Is Boone in?" Boone was the guy that hired me. And he was like, "Yep." I was like, "Then I'm in." Right. And so 22 of us left 2015, formed Infinity Ward. And initially we were actually making an expansion for Medal of Honor Allied Assault called Spearhead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so most people don't know that.
Yeah.
And so we were actually a few months into making the expansion pack because EA didn't want to work with that guy either.
Right.
And so we were doing that, working on the expansion pack. And then, this is back when they had DreamWorks, which was acquired by EA.
Yep.
And DreamWorks was in Bel Air. And they had a studio of about 250, 300 people that worked on the console Medal of Honor games. So a few months into the expansion pack, they're like, "We want to bring you in to absorb you into our mega office." And we were this super tight team that just made a really good game. We didn't want to be just 22 people dispersed in a company of 250 or so.
You guys were a squad.
And so we were in Tulsa, and only me and I think Earl Hammond was from Tulsa, right?
Right.
And I hadn't lived there most of my life. I was born there and then ended up leaving. And so we were trying to figure out, okay, are we going to stay here? Are we going to Tulsa? We couldn't get people to move to Oklahoma for a game studio. Now you can. Things have changed, obviously. So had to make a franchise that would compete with Medal of Honor. I skipped over that. So they want to absorb us into our studio or into the studio, and we said no, we don't want to be torn apart, and we had to scramble around and look for another publisher. And so we found Activision. Activision said, "We will give you creative rights. We'll let you make the game you want to make." Where EA was a little more like telling us what we should do and shouldn't do. And so we basically made, what was Allied Assault was almost like Call of Duty 0. It was Call of Duty without the full creative control that we had for Call of Duty 1, except it was the Activision, right? And we had to start over from scratch. We used the Quake 3 engine for Medal of Honor, and we did a bunch of improvements. But we couldn't use them because we didn't own those improvements. So we had to start over, which in some ways, bad because we had to redo things, but good because sometimes you have something called legacy code. And that's like you have bad code in your foundation. If you pull it out, everything else crumbles, right?
Right.
And so we're able to recreate a lot of the features without having all that legacy issues. And so, we made the first Call of Duty 1 on PC, and no one had heard of it. Obviously new franchise. It launched the first week or two. Sales were like meh, and then the reviews started coming out, and this is when most people still went to magazines,
That's right.
and the sales just started like launching. Right now, when you launch a game, it's gonna be like week 1, sales are just boom, and then week 2, huge drop, right? And so we kind of had this nice trickle, and then multiplayer caught on, and so sales just kind of kept increasing. I think we, in the end, sold close to 1 million copies of Call of Duty 1. At the time was good, but it didn't come close to, say, Modern Warfare 2, which I think was like 28, 29 million, not counting the remake, which is probably another 30 million or something.
Unbelievable, man.
So yeah, just each project, Call of Duty 2 was a launch title for the Xbox 360, and it had like a 70% attachment rate. So 70% of the people that bought an Xbox 360 also bought Call of Duty 2, which was a pretty like a really crazy number. Basically 3 out of 4 people. And then
Insane, man.
by then we were sick of World War II. We'd worked on World War II games for longer than America was in World War II, which is a very long time. We had all these ideas for like helicopters, different weapons, different, military tactics we couldn't do in World War II.
Yeah.
And so Vince and Jason went to Activision and said, hey, we've got all these great ideas for a modern day Call of Duty. And they're like, they pull out the World War II charts, sales, right? And they're just like, look, why? Why would you stop doing World War II? It's more popular than it's ever been in video game history. It's like, because we're creative people. We get inspired to make something, and that's why it's good. If we're not inspired to make it, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like being a band and like telling, Metallica to write the exact same sound for every album or something, right?
Yeah.
Eventually get sick of it. So, let me see. So where was I? Modern Warfare 1.
Vincent went in.
Yeah, Vince and Jason. And they came back. They told us the bad news. Activision said no. And then I don't know who it was, but the idea came up. It's like, what if we just lock our offices for like 2 or 3 months and prototype this anyways? And that's what we did. We locked our offices. There was only one person from Activision allowed in our office. And I don't even know if that person knew what was happening. But we made the level where you fast rope down, like Captain Price throws out his cigar, and then you fast rope down on a Russian boat, and start taking out Russians. Which I'm also banned from Russia. We can talk about that later. For 2 reasons now, actually. I think I don't know if I'm banned. Maybe they lifted it. Anyways, so Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, we locked them out of our offices. We made the prototype. They came in, they saw it. At first, they were pissed, and they're like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!" That's how the Modern Warfare series got created and ended up being their most successful franchise. So.
It's insane, man. I mean, and you're always humble about it, but you played a significant role. I mean, you essentially, in many cases, created with your team, you and the squad, one of the greatest games of all time, most lucrative games and franchises in the history of gaming.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you're there and it's like being in a water that's slowly starting to boil. You don't really notice it getting hot because you're kind of riding it up and up and up. And also, unlike movies, where it's like if I was an actor in a movie that was as popular as a Call of Duty game, I couldn't, I'd go outside and people would stop me, and I don't have to worry about that, So it's like that card you can play if you need it, which I don't play too often. And you once
said, you'll run into a little crew that's like, that's Chance Glasco. They're like 25-year-old developer gamers, like, I love you, man.
Yeah, it's sometimes. I mean, like I said, I'm not recognized too often just from my face, but if I'm at like Full Sail University,
Hall of Famer.
Probably, Hall of Fame. Just had Hall of Fame week last week.
How'd that go? Was it good?
That was good, yeah. Had some good talks, some good panels. I did, I did a metaverse panel where I just took huge dumps on the metaverse for like 45 minutes. And a bunch of other like just career kind of talks with students, looking at some
so cool
portfolios.
So last year, Chance had me come out, and we hung out during the Hall of Fame week, and we had a good time. One of my favorite parties ever. Yeah, took me to. It was so fun.
The Joneses party. Yeah, Gary Nisus Jones.
Yeah, met some incredible people out there with you. But so okay, now fast forward to now. You're working on something that, in fact, the reason that Chance is in here, number one, to hang out, but we're headed to a meeting and we're in a time crunch. And Michelle's like, hey, make sure you gotta get out of here soon. But Chance is working on a really cool game. Can we talk much about it?
We can talk a little bit. I mean, we haven't made a formal announcement. We'll do that in June.
Yeah.
But obviously, we've got socials up. We've got a website.
Yeah.
People know what kind of game we're making. So I just won't get too much into the details. But we're going to announce at. I'm going to go to Sao Paulo for Bigg Festival, which is Brazil Independent Games Festival. It's the largest South American indie games festival.
When is that?
End of June 28th to July.
Can I come?
1st. Yeah, you can come, dude. I'd love to have you in Brazil.
I'm coming.
All right. Might as well.
Right.
So did an article with Globo, which is the biggest South American media outlet. Jeyun, Jeyun is G1, sorry, in Portuguese. And so hoping that's going to give us a good boost in the middle of June.
Yeah,
when we
for
announce. Sure. We've got a teaser trailer that's pretty much done. We're going to make some small changes, and I can show you that after.
No, I'm excited to see it.
And then, hopefully once we launch, you can share that as much as you want.
Yeah, this game is going to be dope.
But yeah, we can talk about it a little bit. So Martial Arts Tycoon, Brazil. I ended up getting into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu around 2010 when I was working on, I think, Modern Warfare 1 or 2. And, ended up becoming the way that I relax in a sense. Because if you're working at the computer, the way to unwind is actually better to be extremely active.
Yeah,
that's what your body needs.
To be in a position to beat the crap out of anyone that stands.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I started watching a lot of like Japanese MMA with some work friends, and then they told me that there's a jiu-jitsu place that just opened blocks away with 2 pretty well-known black belts, and just went over there, tried it, fell in love with it pretty quickly. It's definitely not a natural thing for me. I'm very awkward, I'm the kid that would like blink when the ball's coming at you when you're trying to catch the ball, that kid, that was me. But it's very technical. So if you're patient and you study it like you study something at school, you're going to probably become a lot better at it. And so, did a lot of that and always thought that it would be interesting to have a game around martial arts that wasn't a button masher. And I, grew up playing a lot of Tycoon games, Roller Coaster Tycoon, more modern stuff like 2 Point Hospital. RimWorld is one of my favorite games of all time. I like strategy kind of management games. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes at a gym, whether it's Muay Thai or MMA or Jiu-Jitsu, that would make a very interesting dynamic game. Yeah. So the idea is that you play this character, Lucas, who has been given a building, which includes a gym on the roof, in this favela, Morro Santo Amaro, which is, I lived 2 blocks from this favela for like 3 years when I was in Brazil. And you inherit it, and you have to run the jiu-jitsu gym, worry about the fighters. Every fighter has, I shouldn't call them fighters. Every person, every NPC has, their list of stats, strength, dexterity, all that. They have character traits. And so you're dealing with different personalities that have different needs to train. Most people are there, 97% of people that train martial arts, they're not trying to become fighters. They're like, I want to lose some weight, or I've got diabetes, or I want to learn self-defense.
Yeah, or I need an outlet.
Yes, an outlet. So these people come in and they have their needs, and you're trying to keep them happy. Eventually, some of them become fighters. You have to keep the more advanced people happy as well. So you're deciding, how am I going to organize these classes? Right. What time should they be? Because some people can't train in the morning, some people can. Right. And so it basically simulates running a martial arts gym. It's focused on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And you can recruit, right? You can recruit some of these people, these NPCs.
Yeah, they come up and they tell you what they're dealing with and why they want to join, and you can negotiate with them. And they join and they pay monthlies that you can win money through purses, if they win a fight. But at the beginning, they might just be facing their bully, right? This kid's getting bullied or something. And
that's cool.
You follow that narrative of like what's happening.
Cool.
And as they get better at jiu-jitsu, they get approached by the bully again, and you see what the outcome is. So.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Creative, you're so creative, obviously. And it's amazing what a creative mind can put together. I still have no idea how people develop. I don't even know how a screen works.
I still don't know how half of it works, honestly. I'm on the art side, so.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I more or less have a high level understanding of everything in game development, but what I'm saying is there's so many specific jobs within game dev. You could be an engineer that's doing the rendering engine, or you could be an engineer that's, doing UI, right? Or artist and animator, sound, production, right? So many different roles. So if you want to work in games, there's pretty much a role for everyone as far as what your style is, what you're into.
Right. So what's it like managing a group of developers? How is that?
I like it on the small scale. I mean, we're a very small team right now. We have, more or less, as far as full time devs go that are hands on, 3.5, I think, 4.
You have a bunch of others that kind of are.
Yeah, and I do consulting on the side too, and get them work and whatnot. But we're obviously going to be scaling up. But we intend to keep the company pretty small.
It's good.
Good Dog Studios is the name.
Yep.
So we do have a website up. You can see go to gooddogstudios.com. You'll see some concept art, a few screenshots, but it's pretty basic right now.
Yeah. So you're gonna put a bunch out, let people see it.
In June we're gonna see it. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. Well, I've seen some of the stuff. It's pretty awesome. So, but you managed how many people with the Call of Duty squad or Modern Warfare? There was like a bunch, right?
Oh no, I was in animation, and towards the end I was lead view model animator. So I think I had directly in my office maybe like 4 people working on it, and then there was some other people in some other studios. So it wasn't a huge team that I was managing.
Yeah.
I only ended up in that position. I wasn't looking for it. I was more into just doing the animations and managing.
Which is,
but I also did PR and
important.
media.
That's pretty. I mean, that's right there in front of your. That's what you're.
You've seen it over and over and over. So at one point, I didn't do the deep dive into the science and the math, but there's a chance that I had the most viewed animations on the planet, along with maybe one other person I worked with. Because you think how many times does someone reload a gun?
Oh.
Over and over, and that's what I was doing the animations for the first person stuff, right? So you think of how many average players maybe reloaded a gun, thousands of times playing Call of Duty, and then you have millions and tens of millions of people that are playing.
That's crazy to think
about.
I'm
like, I might have the quantity wise, if not the number one, it's got to be up there.
Dang, that's crazy. That is crazy. So let's dive into your childhood.
Yeah.
So Tulsa. Yeah, this is crazy story. So
yeah.
if you would, I would love to.
I'm more open about it now because pretty much most people involved in it are not here with us. So I didn't want to talk about it too much, but a lot of people say, hey, there's a lot of people that've been through some crazy stuff. You should open up about it because people can relate and hopefully be encouraged that if this is happening to them or something crazy in their family is happening, that they can get out of it and eventually, do something good with themselves. So
right. So grew up in Tulsa. What happened?
Born in Tulsa. So this is the start. Chapter 1. There was my dad and mom divorced. Real dad, real mom, divorced bio parents.
How old were you?
1.5, 2. My mom married stepdad. My stepdad's ex-wife married my real dad. So it was like a spouse swap. There was some swinging stuff going on.
That's some Tulsa. That's some Tulsa stuff right there. Yeah. So okay.
So that happened. There was at one point, we were without getting into too many details, in a double wide trailer that had a room that apparently was full of weed and coke that was locked, and there was I guess some Cessnas landing outside of our Coweta double wide trailer. And we had 13 dogs, and I thought that I didn't understand why, but maybe that's a good warning system. It's like having 13 Vivint cameras around your house.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I mean, what kind of dogs were they? Weren't little foo-foo fifi dogs, right? They were.
Yeah, there were a bunch of foo-foo fifis. They all had genre names. So it was like rock, rhythm, blues, jazz.
That's awesome.
Because I got sick of figuring out names.
That's a good idea. I like that. Yeah. That's cool. Okay.
And so that happened. So I lived in a double wide for a bit. Then parents got divorced again when I was 11, 12. Ended up moving down to Beachside, Brevard County, kind of near Cocoa Beach area, but it was actually Satellite Beach. So just kind of crazy, lots of divorce, lots of drama. Oh, I forgot the whole kidnapping thing. How can I forget that?
Okay, let's go.
All right. So when I was 5, after my parents divorced, I had to go see my dad, and that environment was really bad.
Right.
Just a lot of fighting, not necessarily physical violence, but just a lot of yelling and screaming. So I'd come back home every weekend, from visiting, just upset. And my parents, my mom and my stepdad, hated seeing me come back so distraught. state of Oklahoma said that I had to go visit every other weekend,
sure.
or every weekend actually.
For sure.
And so my stepdad got a job working at USBI, which is a NASA contractor, and we just disappeared in the middle of the night, and I was a missing kid for 3 years. I knew where I was, but otherwise, it wasn't one of those like, human trafficking cases where it's like, It was the people that loved me, and it was actually the right thing.
Yeah.
Went to court. I think the judges saw that it was the right thing, and so they didn't force me to go back to Oklahoma.
Right.
Ended up staying in Florida, and that's how I ended up in Florida.
Yeah. Wow.
And so if I wouldn't have gone, that happened, I wouldn't have ended up at Full Sail probably, and didn't go to Full Sail. I probably wouldn't have ended up working on Call of Duty or Medal of Honor.
Crazy how
right?
things
so,
work.
So I don't think I'd take any of it back.
Yeah, it's part of your journey.
And I think that resilience that you build is incredibly useful. Hopefully it doesn't come with like a lot of ulterior scars that are going to create issues.
Yeah.
But I think having kind of just a crazy childhood was important to who I am today, probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it sculpted you into who you are today, and you're a go-getter, man. Like I love learning about what you're working on, and this game has exponential potential. I am so excited about it, and I know you kind of shared a little bit about it.
Martial Arts Tycoon Brazil. Did we say the name maybe once?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. You can look us up on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. And we're gonna do some stuff to get the word out here soon, which I'm really excited about, and that's where we're headed here in a bit for a meeting with a group that I also know is very excited about it.
Awesome.
Well, dude, I always finish these podcasts with a couple fun questions because we like to get to know you a little bit, more deeply. So, who's your number one Major League Baseball team? Let's just start with that.
Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles.
Ding, ding, ding. Wait, real quick, how did you find a love for the Dodgers? Tulsa.
I grew up playing baseball as a kid. Tulsa. My grandfather is actually drafted by the Cardinals, but he decided not to do it because there was no money in baseball at the time.
Yeah, back then, no.
And he went to study geology and became like VP of Apache Oil. So it's probably a good move. So in the 80s, I watched a lot of the A's. Jose Canseco, sadly, was my favorite player.
Hey, he was a beast back then.
I know,
man.
but it's just like
Bass Brothers.
I mean, he's one of the best follows on Twitter for sure.
Oh,
so.
he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
So A's, and then moved to Florida, but I was in Brevard County, so I didn't have the Marlins at first, and then the Marlins showed up, but it was down in Miami. I didn't go to any games, so I never had a home team.
Right.
So as soon as I moved to LA, I was like, Dodgers are my team, and that was like 2001-ish, right?
Yep.
And so I'd grown up mostly watching National League, so it was a good fit. I remember like Jose Offerman when I was a kid.
Shortstop.
Yeah, Mike Piazza.
Yeah. Good players. Well, that's awesome. So, next question. Who's your favorite superhero of all time?
It's funny. I'm not really into superhero movies.
I know.
I drew comics as a kid, but I didn't like reading other people's comics. I kind of like Guile.
Really?
Yeah, Guile.
Like Street Fighter Guile?
Or sorry, not Guile. Gambit. Sorry.
Gambit.
Yeah.
Cards, aces.
Yeah.
That's
this
good.
guy's slick,
I think they're working on a movie right now for him.
But yeah, I don't think I've never been that.
Star Wars
favorite character?
Yes.
Scalacious Crumb.
Who the heck is that?
That's Jabba the Hutt's little
that guy?
The lizard monkey. Yeah.
Did I do good? That was a good.
Yeah.
That was actually a really good
impersonation.
impersonation.
That's a good Scalacious.
That dude.
That kind of sounds like a cereal. Scalacious Crumbs.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Skin disease.
Did either of you guys know who he was talking about in that moment?
That's pretty obscure.
Oh, hey,
that's
I'm,
how you know
I'm
I'm
just
a real
happy
fan.
that's a first. I was thinking like Luke Skywalker. Well, Lucas is the name of your character, and I was like,
who likes Luke Skywalker? Come on, it's like,
oh gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, here's another good one. What is your wife's biggest pet peeve about you? She has to pick one pet. If you had to pick one pet peeve that drives her nuts, what would it be? It's always one of my favorites to ask.
I don't know. Like, maybe not a pet peeve. I think this just has a pro and a con. Maybe she thinks I'm just too friendly sometimes. Like, I'll talk to anyone. It doesn't matter who they are.
That's a good thing.
I don't know. There's probably something better. I'm just trying to. She's probably gonna watch this and be telling me in the future. I can already tell her.
Well,
she's gonna tell me what it is. I don't know what it is.
There you go. Maybe I'll ask her today.
Yeah,
today.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, or maybe you're just perfect. You're just so
I don't
good.
think
There are no such things as pet peeves.
Okay. Or maybe because I'm so impatient with. Well, this is calling out her pet peeve. Like I like to be on time, and that drives her nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm very punctual. For the most part, extremely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's close it out with this. Well, first of all, actually, before I close it out, Chance, you're a stud, man. I am so excited for you and what you're working on, and I have so much respect for you as number one, a human being, but also as an entrepreneur. Your story is really, really cool. I wish I had more time to talk about this. I might have to have you on again.
Yeah.
After the game gets launched.
Yes.
That's when we have you back on, so we can start really talking about it.
Show some footage and everything.
Yeah. It is so cool what he's building.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to become, I didn't really play a ton of games growing up. I did when I was younger with the NES and the Super NES. But I remember SimCity. Like, I love that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I play a lot of
SimCity. You
yeah.
build it, and it just becomes your own as you're building a city and whatever. And this whole idea around what you're doing, I think people are going to become obsessed with it. Yeah, I really do. Thanks. I can't wait to play it. Anyway, what was your favorite cereal? This one actually slightly shocked me.
Raisin Bran. Yeah, right here. It was my favorite cereal growing up. I had no idea that it had more sugar than most cereals.
Yes.
But my theory is that it's per cup, and this is more of a dense cereal. It's not poofy air.
Yeah.
So I think for the amount of filling you get, it's probably lower than people expect. That's my theory.
So Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran, y'all.
And, first Kellogg's and Post was secondary. Sorry, Post.
Well, I'm happy that I can serve up some Raisin Bran to you and make your life better.
Yeah, my poops are going to be good again. Thank you.
Poop is important. Fiber, more fiber. Anyway, thanks for coming on, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Until next time. Oh, actually, last thing. Where can people find you on social media?
Chance Glasco on Twitter.
Okay.
Chance Glasco.
Yes.
And on Instagram, Krunko, Krunko. But I think if you search for my first and last name, you'll find it.
Go follow him. He's a good follow, guys. Cool. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Until next time.
See you guys. Thank you.